The construction industry remains one of the most dangerous industries in many parts of the world today, with the highest percentage of workplace fatalities. The project is centered in the near future, where untethered battery-powered hardware opens up the ability to access virtual worlds anywhere. Can the virtual provide an infrastructure for the civic gathering of labor in the construction industry? And can the virtual be the catalyst towards greater transparency in workplace standards? One of the earliest forms of social organization of labor in the building trade were the craft guilds of medieval Europe. Craft guilds created their own identity through elaborate rituals, insignias, and codes of conduct. By controlling conditions of entrance into a craft, guilds limited the labor supply. By defining wages, hours, and techniques, they regulated both working conditions and the production process. As markets continued to expand, however, craft guilds suffered a breakdown in structure. Conditions for development of the early industrial system rose out of a disintegration of this craft guild system. The excluded journeymen eventually became a class of free laborers who practiced their craft for wages outside the town walls and outside the limitations of the guild regulations. In Munich 1907, the Deutsche Werkbund was formed. An alternative to guilds in which the function was to protect the discipline, the Deutsche Werkbund was an association united on ideological principles. The Deutsche Werkbund was a state-sponsored social organization of German architects, craftspeople, designers and businessmen who sought to define industrial, craft and aesthetic standards for the nation, as well as to integrate traditional crafts and industrial mass production techniques to put Germany on a competitive footing with England and the United States. The organization lasted till 1934 and operated mainly through exhibitions, where members produced works and designs across all scales, from furniture pieces to fashion to finished building prototypes. The evolution of the social organization of labor has led to modern trade unions of today. The Union of Construction, Allied Trades and Technicians, also known as UCAT, is the UK's primary trade union specializing in the construction and building industry. It formed in 1971 as an independent union and has over 80,000 members spread throughout England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. In the 1972 national strike, the UCAT was instrumental in uniting geographically dispersed workers of different trades and negotiated the largest single pay increase in the building industry. It was unions who brought the first ever successful case for asbestos-related disease compensation in the UK to the House of Lords in 1972, and they have been involved in every significant case around the law of asbestos compensation since then. In 2016, due to financial troubles from a declining membership, UCAT merged with a larger union, Unite. The merger would see builders develop a union for the first time, covering all the trades in the construction sector.
You can create a union that covers 100% of construction, a union that has real political power and can argue for construction workers, a union that can threaten the employers and deliver the goods today.
During their biennial conferences, policies are established that the sector will follow for the next 2 years. The chair is responsible for the conduct of the meeting. Members may only speak when called by the chair. The chair has discretion on whether to allow a member to speak more than once on a subject. In the conference, delegates could debate on matters such as fair work, health and safety, site access, and related issues. Union members moved the motion by providing personal experiences and stories.
I worked for 28 years as a steel fixer. Had to work in the rain getting soaked, and managers just standing on the ground had better protective equipment than I did. Us workers should not be compromised at the workplace. I can't breathe down there. It's exhausting working those hours, physically and mentally. The nearest toilet is 2 miles away, and management doesn't even listen to us. It is absolute hell.
The conference functions as a medium for the personal stories of workers to affect policy. Following the discussions and motions passed, UCAT negotiates with the Construction Industry Joint Council, typically for higher wages and better workplace standards. It is from these conferences where emotions are transformed into campaigns and collective action leads to real accountability for employers. In their quarterly journal magazine Building Worker, UCAT investigates and exposes scandals and unfair treatment of workers in the construction industry. On the 23rd of February 2007, the massive and systemic blacklisting of construction workers was revealed following a raid on the Consulting Association's offices by the Information Commissioner's Office. It was subsequently discovered that widespread blacklisting checks occurred on major projects including the Olympic Games Build project and Crossrail. UCAT spearheaded the legal case against construction companies who systematically denied jobs to construction workers who were part of unions. It has been shown that UCAT could have the power to affect the entire industry supply chain right from the beginning. However, the decline in trade union membership, which has taken place in parallel with deliberate deindustrialization policies, anti-union laws, and the changing nature of work, has to an extent created a vicious circle in which unions are delegitimized in the mainstream media. The precarious nature of much of today's work often makes it difficult for those in insecure, zero-hour jobs to see what unions might be able to do for them. The building industry is rapidly shifting towards the elimination of workers with the move towards automation and design for manufacturing and assembly. Unions need to adapt and modernize to remain relevant in today's world of work, to give working people the courage to fight injustice, because unions are the only major inconvenience to those that want to exploit and steal from the working class. Digital twins are becoming a widely familiar concept that promises operational efficiency, improved productivity, and safety. The mirror image of a unique physical object, process, or other abstraction offers immense value for the built environment. The project imagines where all construction had a digital twin stored across a secured distributed network, thereby creating an atlas and index of the global material production of the built environment. Stadiums are amongst the most dangerous typologies in construction, with numerous safety risks involved. By classifying and recomposing digital twins in the virtual, connections can be made between sites that share a similar affinity despite being in separate geolocations. In the virtual, atomized workers that share similar issues in distant locations can connect and group together in this spatial cartogram. Workers on high-risk jobs, such as stadium projects for instance, might choose to file a complaint or highlight safety risks. This information is uploaded to a distributed data storage protocol such as IPFS, where it is spatially visualized in the public virtual platform, spreading awareness to the industry and the public on these issues whilst incentivizing companies to improve workplace standards. In the middle, a field of meeting spaces of varying sizes is generated on demand, where demonstrations can be held by simultaneous groups of workers who might be dispersed physically but can become a collective anonymously in the virtual. Ultimately, the virtual serves as an autonomous platform for workers in high-risk jobs or those who lack access to local unions to gather and highlight often unnoticed workplace issues to the public. A decentralized governance and open accessibility are key values of the proposal, as it is through uncensored collective voices, a global audience, and the spatial visualization of risk and material access in the construction sector can the well-being of construction workers be recognized as something that we should care for.